Hello, I'm Tina from UK Stretch Fabrics, and today we are going to be making the Waves and Wild Fireside Slippers. And these are great because they come in different height options. There's the short boot and then there's the tall boot. You can roll down the tall boot. You can add ties to the front and you can add a reinforced heel. But today I'm just going to be showing you how to kind of make the basic tall boot option with thermal insulating batting because winter's going to be cold. So I made these earlier and today I'm going to be showing you this fabric. Just pop those over there. So I've got all my bits cut out. I've got the back of the boot. I have got the front of the boot. I've got the upper front, which is the bit that goes over your foot like that. And then I've got the sole cut out. I have got alpine fleece as the fuzzy kind of comfy bit that goes against your skin. And we have then got a layer of normal, just regular batting. And this is the secret to keeping the boots super snuggly and warm. This is the thermal batting, which is kind of sandwiched. It's going to end up sandwiched between your outer layer and your inner layer, which is going to be the alpine fleece in this case. For the bottom of the slippers, we've got this slipper grip fabric, which is really interesting to kind of when you're getting to know how to use it, but it's super easy to sew. I thought it would be a bit of a challenge. It's got these little rubber dots on. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them. It's got rubber dots on and we have got that in black and we've got it in white. So this is the black and it just adds a non-slip surface to the bottom of the slippers because everybody needs something that's not going to slip around as you're walking, otherwise it's a bit dangerous. In the kits that we're releasing, it's going to have everything that you need to make between toddler size all the way up to adult size 13, I think. And that includes the gripper, the thermal batting, the regular batting, the alpine fleece, and also your kind of patterned fabric that goes on the top that you'll be able to see, like these ones. Right, so to get started, what I did as I was cutting it out to keep my lefts and rights separate and kind of organised so I don't end up with my two left legs crossed over because I'll trip up, I added a clip on every piece that was an outside piece of the foot. So this is my right foot and this is the outside of the right foot. I did the same with the slipper grip and I did the same with the upper of the final shoe, so the shoe upper piece. And as we lay it all kind of down on the table, I'll lift it up so that you can see. Once we've constructed it, I have the wrong pieces, hold on. See, this is where I get confused. This one. Swap those over. We've got the outside of the upper front and that's the outer lining piece. This is the inside of it, but this is the outside of the foot, the right foot, and I put a clip on the edges just so that I knew which side that would be. And then we have got our sole and that will go, so we've got our sole with the outside and our upper, which will end up going on top like that. And then on the very bottom we've got our slipper grip sole, which is going to end up that way as well. So we've got all of our outsides the right way round now. We're just going to start with something super simple. For one foot we're going to take our 3 patterned pieces of fabric. So we've got the back, we have got the front, which has got a curve to it, and then we have got the front upper of the foot, which is going to curve like that over the top of our feet. And we're going to take this piece and we're going to take our front of the foot piece, and where the curves are, we're going to line them up carefully. We're not going to pull, but we're going to have to manipulate them into place because they're different shaped curves. So I'm going to place my fabric so the edges meet up. I'm just going to clip those bits in place now. And then it will look something like that, and then we've just got to kind of not pull but gently move that so that it's in the centre, and when we go to sew it, make sure that it doesn't pucker so that we don't get any extra bits caught underneath the foot. I'm just going to sew those together. Making sure that nothing I don't want under the foot is there. It's being a bit awkward. So here we have got our front and top of our foot put together. Now we're going to take the back piece, which is this one here. I love this fabric. We still have some of this on our website, ukstretchfabrics.co.uk. And we are going to place it along this edge here and this edge here, right sides facing. Yeah, I'm being good and clipping it in place, but normally I would just kind of put it there and put it straight through the machine. But because you're watching, I'd better behave. So just line up those edges, clip it or pin it in place, or just hold it and hope, which is my preferred option on both sides, so that we'll end up with an entire shoe, minus the sole, because in a moment we'll be doing the sole. Okay, so now we have got something that looks like this. We're going to sew down this side and we're going to sew down this side. And there is our left slipper, which we can, if you fancy, you can turn it around and have a look at what it looks like inside. But now we're going to attach our sole piece to it. So our slipper grip, and I've cut some out in white for this one. I was doing the right foot and then I got muddled because the pieces flipped around. So always just make sure that you've got your right foot with your right foot stuff and your left foot with your left foot stuff. It'll make life a lot easier. So we should have been good and cut out some notches to help us so that we know where the slipper grip is to attach on our slipper. I've cut out my notches here, so at the top and at the bottom. And we're doing it slow so that we've got the rubber side facing up, which is going to go against the right side of our fabric. So we're going to place that on top, line up our notches, and then for the rest of it, we're just kind of easing it into place. That's my front notch lined up. And my back notch. And then for this part, I just recommend using as many clips or pins as you have to hand, just to help hold it down. So I'm just going to slowly but surely pop it all on. And we're using a stretchy fabric for the outer, which is French terry. And although it's stable, it does move if you pull it and try and yank it out of place. So don't do that, just kind of place it down and it should behave itself. I'm going to start from the top again. So the top of the slipper, just to make sure that I've got enough to go all the way around and we've not kind of puckered too much in one place. I really need to sort out my clip bag. I have got more than just clips in there. I've got my bodkins, I've got a tiny little Allen key, I've got bobbins, empty ones, and every time I go to grab a handful of clips I end up with everything else that I own. Okay, we have got that pretty much on, and when we go to sew it, we're just going to be really careful to make sure that nothing is puckering as we go around. Make sure that the whole thing is just staying in place and where we want it. So you'll end up with something that looks a bit like that. And then I've been doing mine on the overlocker, but if you'd prefer to use your sewing machine, you can do. I find the overlocker just kind of holds it all in place nicely for me as I go round. And just be careful because there are a lot of clips. You don't want to be getting those caught in your machine at all. Slow and steady. Okie. We've sewn it together. So this is the outer sewn up. Now we can turn it around to see how it's looking. Make sure that we caught all of the fabric in place, which is obviously the aim of the game. And make sure that we have got the foot correct. So this is meant to be my left foot, which now that I've turned it around the right way round, I can see that it will be. Look. How cute is that? And actually these slippers aren't for me. I'm making them for Lindsay. I've made myself a pair, I've made my kids a pair, I've made my sister a pair, and now our lovely, lovely Lindsay is getting a pair. How cute are they? Did you see her jacket that she made with this fabric? I think, like the jacket with these slippers, it's going to be so cool. Right, so I'm going to pop that over to the side for now, and then we can start on the lining for it. So the batting and the thermal batting and the alpine fleece. Pop those over there. We've got all of those bits here. I've already got them clipped together in the order that they're going to be sewn. So we're going to start again with the front foot, which has got a curve. We're going to put the back away for a moment. And then we've got the upper foot, which has got a curve. So the curves go together and then we clip it. So the fabrics that we've got here, we have got alpine fleece, which is this purple fabric, and that's going to be on the side closest to the skin. And then we have got normal batting, so just a thin piece of wadding. And then we've got this thermal batting, which is going to keep your feet so super warm and snuggly this winter. And our kits go live this Sunday, so check out the website. The kits are going to include everything that you need in order to make the slippers to the size that you want. You can do what you like. Right, so we're going to place our curves together and clip in place all 3 layers together. So we're going to have 6 layers. So when we sew this, we need to be slow and steady to make sure that it all kind of catches in. You might feel more comfortable doing that on your sewing machine rather than your overlocker, but I'm just going to take a slightly bigger seam allowance to make sure that I do have everything kind of caught in there. And my overlocker is a workhorse. She'll quite happily go through multiple layers. Right, so we've got those clipped together, and then that's going to look like that. Right, so my overlocker didn't like that as much this time. You can see that she's skipped some stitches. So I'm just going to go over it with my actual sewing machine. Let me just thread that up one moment. But look at how cute this looks. Okay, so I've set up my sewing machine and I've just got it on a straight stitch. I'm going to go over the top of the seam that I just created because my overlocker wasn't happy going through that many layers at once. Okay, there we are. And then we're going to take our back fabric, all 3 layers again, and we are going to place that on top of our foot. So this is the front foot. We're going to take our back fabric and place it on top, and then we're going to sew down these 2 edges, but we're going to leave a gap so that we can turn it through. That's going to be our turning hole. Help me remember, I'm going to put 2 clips next to each other. So I'm going to know that's my turning hole there. So again, this is a lot of layers, so I'm going to use my sewing machine rather than my overlocker because my overlocker isn't enjoying life today. Normally it goes through everything, but I was forced to clean it out by Lindsay and Kelly. So there was a lot of lint in there and I hadn't cleaned it, and I'd done loads of projects and still just put off cleaning it. So now I need to play with the tensions a bit more to make sure that it's happy to go through lots of thick layers, like it once was when it was a fire hazard. It was a fire hazard because there was so much lint in there. But never mind, I still blame Lindsay and Kelly for making me do that. It's their fault. So now I have clipped down the edges. I've double clipped for my turning hole, so I won't be sewing there. I'll leave probably 5 centimetres or so to turn. Make sure you leave enough space because you have to turn the entire slipper through the little hole. This is my turning hole, I'm just pulling it rather than sewing that section there. Pop my press foot back down and continue. Slow and steady as you go over the thick, bulky seams. And I do like to just quickly backstitch there because that's a weak point as it's so thick and bulky. So I've sewn down one side of it and I can see that I've caught all of my different layers in there. I've got my turning hole here. I'll just clip that thread so that we can see that it's not sewn together. I've got a little hole in there. And now I'll sew down the other side. There we are. We've got that sewn together. We have got a left slipper in the making, and all of the soft snuggly bit is on the inside, which is where it's going to stay really, because we don't turn this the right way around. This kind of slots on top. I'll show you in a minute, but first we need a sole. Thankfully I've got one here. Line up your notches again, so the tops, the bottoms, and then we're going to clip that in place and sew it up. Lots and lots of clips along this part. So what the thermal layer does in this batting is it helps to keep the heat from your foot inside your foot rather than just going straight out onto the floor, never to be seen again. And when it's really, really cold, your body warms up and that heat just, it goes, doesn't it? So the thermal layer in these is going to help to keep that heat against your skin, keeping your feet nice and toasty. And these make really great gifts for other people as well, especially if you've got people that get super cold feet. Like my sister, she's got fibromyalgia, and so she feels the cold, she feels pain. These are going to be perfect for her. This pair here is actually my sister's pair. And like a good sister, I still haven't managed to sew up my turning holes in the slippers. So I should probably do that before Christmas when I gift it to her. But you never know. I'll sew up Lindsay's turning holes, because she would judge me if I didn't. Right, almost clipped. There we are. We have got a left slipper, just the batting part, and we're going to attach the sole on now using the sewing machine. I am playing bobbin chicken. If I run out, we'll pretend it didn't happen. Slow and steady around those bulky seams. I do like to backstitch over them just to kind of reinforce that section. Right, just go around the bottom, which is tricky because there's a small space and a lot of fabric. So you just need to make sure that nothing is under the foot that you don't want to be there. Okay, we still have some bobbin, which is good because we need it for the last seam. So we've got our slipper all put together really, really nicely. And then we have got our outer, and we need to now make the two sit nicely together. So I'm going to put my slipper outer inside my slipper. so that the right sides are facing each other. So I've got my right side of my patterned fabric and I've got my alpine fleece, which is the right side, because we want the cozy stuff against the skin, the super soft stuff. And then we are just going to make sure that it kind of wiggles its way in a little bit and that it's not twisted at all. And then we have got our seams from the outer and our seams from the lining. Just going to line those seams up, making sure to get all of the loose threads out of the way because they're now going to get caught as we sew it up. And for this top part we just sew all the way around. You don't need to leave a turning hole because you left a turning hole in the lining. Let me just snip that so it's out of our way. So we're now going to sew the entire top part, and remember we're going to eventually turn it all the way through that little hole there. So we're sewing around the top. Let's hope the bobbin lasts. There we are, the bobbin lasted. I'm just going to snip those threads. And now it's time, try that again. And now it's time to turn the entire thing through the tiny little hole. And I suggested that you leave like a 5 centimetre gap. I'm not sure I did, so you can sit and watch me struggle as I pull the entire thing outwards. Oh, we have a foot, half a foot. We have a lining still inside. So this is the bit where you need muscles for sewing. Big and strong. I've got thread caught there. I'll chop that off in a minute. Kelly said that it's like this when you have to turn a bag through. So Kelly really enjoys making bags and she's so good at it. But birthing the bag is a whole other story, and you have to put strength you didn't know that you had into just turning the thing through the right way. So leave a turning gap that is big enough for you to not have to struggle. I just hate hand sewing, so I just think, oh, I don't need that much of a gap. Hi. We might be here for 10 minutes. So I think I'm going to make quite a few more pairs of these. I think I'm going to do these as Christmas gifts, with the exception of my nan. She doesn't like slippers. She doesn't wear slippers. But it's going to be so cold this winter, and people don't want to put on their heating for obvious reasons. So having something nice and snuggly against your feet. If your feet are warm, the rest of you, by rights, should be warm. I might just make my turning hole slightly bigger. You didn't see that. Octopus stage. Yes, yes, yes. We're getting there. Okay, I can see it. It's happening. Eek. There we are. And we have a slipper. Oh wait, that's not right. So now we need to put this inside of this. So once you've turned it, you need to invert it so that the slipper part goes down into the slipper part, which can be just as fiddly as the turning hole, but mine's going to be easier than that because my turning hole was a bugger. Slippers are fun. This is the hardest part. The rest is just simple sewing. The hardest part is turning it the right way around and getting all of the lining lined up with the outer and nice and flat. There we are, we've done it. Okay. So you can manipulate it so that it's smooth. Look! We made a slipper. How cute is that? I'm going to snip this thread here. Your turning hole is going to be on the inside now. So that's going to need turning, not turning, it's not needing turning. It's going to need hand stitching just to close that. This is the tall boot so that you can wear it all the way up, or you can turn it halfway down. That will look super cute as well. And this is the left foot. I am so pleased with that. And now I just need to make one more so that I have got a pair that I can gift. I cannot wait to see your creations. Please share them on the UK Stretch Fabrics Facebook group and on Instagram, and I can't wait to see.